Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the RealNext webinar series. Today, we are focused on winning business and running an accelerated sales process. I am Jeff Finn, CEO at RealNext, and as always, joined by Matthew Smith, VP of Sales. And got a great program for you today, great audience, and thank you all for joining. Today, we're going to talk about three main components of the RealNext system: one, to win business; next, to go to market; and then to run the sale. So under winning business, we'll talk about building and honing your prospect and property database, setting up business development and deal management timelines, creating winning broker opinion of values and proposals, and then going to market with authoritative financial analyses, creating your flyers, your brochures, your offering memos, and establishing and managing a virtual deal room where you run the sales process. And from there, you can create a highly targeted email and direct marketing campaign for your canvassing and outreach, your deal management, client reporting, and then once you have prospects in the deal room, getting them set up for best and final offers and closing transactions. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. Still have some people joining the room, but we are ready to get started. So let me turn the keys over to Matt, and we will be off to the races here. Take it away, Matt.
All right, and always, Jeff, thanks for the great introduction. As Jeff mentioned, we're going to be going through an accelerated sales process. That is meaning you're going to be in listen-only mode. Throw your questions throughout. We'll answer them as we get going. There's going to be some great things we're going to be talking about today. Also look for some new releases coming in June from the RealNext team. We've been working vigorously to make sure that you have the best, fastest, and most efficient solution out there to really just transact and give you the information you need to be more successful. So you're with us for the first time. These do go relatively quick. There is going to be recording so you can watch, you can rewind, and also there's going to be a guide me that's going to walk you through certain portions of our program. Log in through realnext.com, and depending on where your system is set up, it's going to pop you into one of four places. RealNext is broken up into four main components. Over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see the hamburger, and we're going to talk a little bit about property search and listing management, ways to go ahead and get your property out on market, as well as any investment wanted, space wanted, needed, and so forth. We'll talk about the CRM and deal making today, prospecting. I'll talk a little bit about RX data and what does that mean to you and when's it coming. We'll go through property presentation. There's also the comparative lease analysis and deal room through the market edge section, and then tour book and deal management for the leasing agents that are out there, landlord and tenant rep, that we're watching some really good case studies come through, especially in the Denver area. It's been quite magical. Like I said before, in the upper right-hand corner of each one of our screens, whether you're in Marketplace, Market Edge, CRM, or Tour Book Transaction Manager, you're going to see what we call Guide Me. Guide Me is going to be able to walk you through different portions of our program, whether that's adding a listing, creating an email campaign, importing data, along with a series of videos. It can even walk you through how to do a complete financial analysis, including adding your rent roll, assumptions, and your output of your program. There's a couple new things. We do started to release our Gmail synchronization. So if you're new on the RealNext program and you sign up, you should have access to a Gmail integration piece. If you do not have access to the Gmail integration piece and you do need access to that, we are adding people into that as we get capacity. Just submit a support ticket and say, I'd like to have the Gmail integration active, and we'll put you in the list in the queue to get that activated for you. Also, Outlook Sync is going to work similarly to the way Google works. You'll be able to synchronize your contacts, your events, and your emails back and forth, and including the corresponding messages sent and received, subject, notes, and attachment if you choose to do so. A couple new things with our program here is we're going to be offering RX data. So you can imagine getting in your database for the first time and not knowing where to start. We've eliminated that, and we have the ability to preload your database with data. If you're a current subscriber and you want to subscribe to RX data services, we can help you with that as well. It's going to bring in all the data pieces, including the comps, the properties, the stack, the people, and we're going to go ahead and pierce that veil of that LLC to help you out. so you can smile and dial faster, easier, more efficient. As always, we do integrate directly into Excel. So if you want to bring any data from Excel, you can easily do that. There's a 4.5-minute video, and there's a spreadsheet template that you can easily copy and paste right into. So if you want to bring your own data set over, no problem. If you want us to do it for you as well. And then also we do offer other data services along here. So if you have data from third-party sources other than RX data and you want brought in, but you don't have the time to do it, we are here to help you. Also, our program is fully mobile, so you can access it anywhere, anytime, any place. So it's going to be fully responsive for you. Also, remember there is a mobile app for the Android and iPhone under RealNex CRM. So we try to make our program as easy and as efficient as possible. And really what we're trying to do is we want to match buyers and sellers, tenants and space throughout our program. As you're inside the RealNex program, there's going to be some things that I'm going to talk about. One of those is going to be filters. Filters is a way that we're going to be able to match those buyers and sellers and those tenants in space. Those filters can be utilized throughout our whole program. As you look at our navigation toolbar up here, we're going to be comprised of a dashboard. It's going to show all your activities each and every day. Can you imagine coming in and not knowing what you need to do each day? RealNex is going to help you with that. It's going to tell you who to call, when to call them, when due diligence information, estoppel certificates, and all other kinds of strategic events are going to need to be completed. Those events can be tied to people on your team. You're going to have a calendar that can integrate into your Gmail as well as your Outlook. You're going to have your people and projects in pipeline. Then you're going to have your companies. Some neat things with our companies we recently added, and due to time constraints, I'm not going to be able to show you exactly this moment, but we did have the ability now to keep track of a complete portfolio as well as a main contact for each portion of the company. So if you're dealing with many companies that have different locations, so maybe it's going to be 7-Eleven and they have 15, 20 locations, you can now have a main contact for each one of those locations wrapped under one system. And then as always, we're going to have our property repository. We try to make our program easy and efficient, so you're going to see your contact card, your property card, and your project card, as well as company card, look similarly. So what is the first thing that we do when we're out prospecting? If you heard me say this once, you'll hear me say it over and over again. Typically, you're going to have a specialty. So is your specialty retail? Is it office? Is it industrial? Is it multi-tenanted, single tenant? Whatever your asset class, you can easily find that information a few ways. One is a keyword. If I want to find something in Las Vegas, I just simply type in Las Vegas, and it will pull up all properties in my system under Las Vegas. Nice little keyword search, so it's an easy way to start prospecting. You also have the ability to create groups. I like to create 2 little buckets. I create one bucket called stage 1, another bucket called stage 2. This is an easy way for me to be able to put everybody that I haven't touched in stage 1, everybody that's interested in buying in stage 2, and everybody that I have a listing presentation with into a lead on one of my projects. You also have the ability to segment your system through all property types: gas station, hotel, motel, industrial, land, office, retail, residential, R&D. You can even create your own property types easy and efficiently through the RealNex settings menu right here and system tables. You can sort by address, city, state, zip code, and so much more within our program, and you can easily filter out that information to find what you want to prospect on. You simply hit show filters. You can create a list of save filters through in here, so if you're prospecting and you want to save that, you can easily do that. We can select, maybe we want to choose a zip code, maybe we want to track a cap rate, or I think Jeff mentioned before that RX data is going to have note expiration. Maybe we want to put in here what the note expiration is going to be on there. Note expiration date, we can sort by. So you can filter out that information as rapidly as you want. Once you figure out your asset class, your type, your zip code, your demographic, or anywhere else, there's some fantastic ways to start prospecting. One is you can simply click on one of the property records and go 1 record, 2 records, 3 records. But we find it extremely important to be able to use a nice little list view. You can customize the views how you want to see the information. So if we wanted to create and go off of market or sub-market or building class, zip code, state, or any other data field that's inside of our program, I can easily do that. So you'll be able to keep track as much information on the property as you want or as little. Building class, construction type, zoning, lot, block, parcel, number of units, vacant square foot, building size, usable square foot, year built, or any other information, including note expiration date. Other information like square footage or dock height, clear height, any information that's going to help you prospect, you can take this information and easily put it in a custom view. If you're on a team, that's awesome. Create a different view for your industrial team or multifamily team, or call one smiles and dials so you can change these views around. That's going to be easier and more effective for you, the prospect. You can also see information in a map view. Now, one of our requests that we had in our map view is to make it more interactive. And I heard some really neat map features and functionality is going to be coming to our program to make it easier, faster, and more efficient for you to decipher who you're going to go and prospect for, so it becomes more efficient. I love this magical little arrow on the left-hand side, right-hand side that's going to be able to then help you go down through this list to start prospecting on. So when you're starting to make the phone calls, it typically goes from, hey, I wanted to see if you're interested in selling your property, or hey, I got a phone call on Discovery Drive and you're interested in possibly getting a broker opinion to value. You can go down through 1, 2, 3, and you can start calling on each one of these owners to see if they want to sell. If your phone system works with voice over IP, you can even easily click the dial. If you don't, you can still use this. Just close the X out, put the subject in here while you're calling. Simple cold call. If you want to tie it to a project because you want to track all your cold calls or your cold calls for your team, you can easily do that. You also see that it automatically links not only to the contact, but it's also going to link to the property. What's great about that is if you wanted to, and the client calls you back and says, hey, it's Chad, you called on one of my buildings, you can say, yeah, Loyo's Tire Building. Also, if you have the company tied to it, when you go ahead and click it, it'll go ahead and tie it right to the company. So you do have the option to decide where you want to go ahead and tie that information. And last but not least, you can go ahead and add it to any other information. I was working with a client yesterday that says, hey, I want to be able to tie it to not only the contact, the company, as well as the property. I want to tie it to someone else on my team. You can easily do that. You can take down any notes on here, and using my nice little Windows H trick that I stole from Timmy, I can start voice dictating on my phone call so I don't have to type. If any of you seen my emails, you understand how horribly I type. And when I voice dictate using this in Grammarly, it's going to correct my grammar as well as spell check. So as I go ahead and talk to my clients, I have the ability to save this. I also have the ability to schedule a follow-up. So if I want to have a follow-up in the future for a next step, and then I can go ahead and I can create a lead for one of my projects on here that I usually call seller pursuits. This is great because now we have the ability to track every one of our listing pitches, including the status from the initial meeting to working on broker opinion of value to presenting broker opinion of value to valuation agreed upon and then one listing. So it allows you to keep track of that whole process all through one easy system. Now this is all great and dandy, but now you got to create a broker opinion of value. You got to take your information and you got to send it over to your admin or your marketing team, and they're going to start creating that broker opinion of value for you. What's nice inside of RealNext is all this data, including the picture, including the unit mix, including the tenants, or any other detailed information is going to be easily pushed right from RealNext into RealNext Market Edge. That's going to help you analyze as well as create marketing collateral for that property. You simply go ahead and hit Analyze, Go To, and that's going to bring that information from RealNext and it's going to populate it directly into RealNext Market Edge. And as the questions come in, I'll try to answer those questions as I see them. I think I'm a panelist today, so I might not see all the questions, but I'm sure Jeff will interrupt me as need be. But you can see how with RX data you can get into the system within minutes because we have a time to value and we want to make sure that's overwhelming for you. We want to make sure that you're out prospecting easy, fast, and efficient, and you're not missing anything by connecting into Office 365 and Gmail. Also with that integration to Office 365 and Gmail, if for any reason you happen to click delete inside of your Gmail or your Office 365, those emails do retain within inside of our system. Where I've heard with other companies and other systems that are out there, if you end up deleting that email by accident, it's going to go ahead and delete it right out of your system. You also
so Matt, before you jump in to the, since you opened it up for questions, several have come in. and some were, a couple were in the CRM. So before you jump into the BOV, there's a question about setting up reminders and event alarms.
Yeah, so
and then setting up your default windows of where you want to show up and showing up to your investor profile rather than
yeah,
a tenant profile.
yeah, so there's a couple things. First and foremost, when you come into the program, you can go to My Account. You can go into here to Settings. We have a new setting within inside of the program that allows you to open it either in Contacts, Dashboard, or any other portion of our program. You can set your team as default or private. You can go ahead and create your calendar view, which now has a work week view. And you can show your startup either on events, history, products, or leads. Once you get in here, anytime you create what we call a history, you have the ability to create a follow-up. So simply go ahead and create that history. A history is going to be an action. It's something I'm doing right now. I'm making a phone call. I'm emailing somebody. That is an action. Once that action is taking place, I have the ability to create a next step, and that's going to be our follow-up. If you don't have an action, meaning you haven't done anything and you still want to create a follow-up, you just go to Events or Add New Event within inside the program. Inside of here, you also have the ability to select what day, and then you have the ability to create an alarm for it. So if we want to have an alarm in 0 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes from the date this is due, okay, so that's a key. So my event's going to show up 5 minutes before on 5/26/2022 at 1:30. So my event is due on 1:30. My alarm is going to pop up on 1:25. So just remember that if you want your event signed up. So just like in Outlook or anywhere else, if you want, an hour reminder, you want a day reminder, a week reminder, those alarms will pop up. And then when you do see those alarms, once they are active, you will see those alarms over here in the left-hand corner. So if you see a little red dot, it's going to be your alarm. In there, you're going to see things like when your profile was viewed. You can even see who viewed your profile and message them through the RealNext program. When an email campaign was opened, or when one of your evaluations or marketing packages was opened. You can also go ahead and create different views within inside there for buyer and seller views, or you can create views for tenant. And again, that's just coming over and creating this little list view by clicking that list button, hitting edit columns, and you can choose what information you want to have in here. You simply hit these 2 arrows and it will go ahead and make it blank. Then you can come back in here and double click and choose what you want to have. You can save that so it's a view that you pull up each single time. And then again, you can select different views depending on what asset class you're focusing on. Same thing for buyer information or tenant information. As we pop into contact records and we pull this up, you can do the same exact thing. Create that nice little list view, edit columns, and then you can choose what information that you see. So we'll start back over. If I'm an investor, I might care about apartment. How many units is someone invested? I might care for hospitality. How many doors does it have? I might care about minimum maximum price, or if I'm in land, maybe I work agriculture. You can add as many of those fields as you want to customize that view and that look for you. Did that hit everything there, Jeff?
Yeah, the one was setting up your default landing page.
Yep, and that default landing page is going to be right in there in your home settings. And then this is where going to be your default landing page. I recommend putting everything in the dashboard and having it to events. So when you come in, you know exactly what you want to do. And then I recommend from there is just simply right clicking, open up the different records you're going to use, whether it's properties, companies, contacts, or anything else. And then you can move these tabs and navigate them like this and create your own private view just for you and how you like it. So that way you can go through each one of these records as fastly as you want. So then again, it becomes something that's customized for you and you're not having to conform to the way we're using things.
And just to remind, someone's asking again, they might have missed, you're setting up a team. How do you set up the team?
Yeah, so when you set up teams, you come over to Tools, Teams, Add New, and then you create your team name. So this one here, I was doing a meeting with KWC, KWC Dealmaker. We hit Save. Once we hit Save on KW Dealmaker, it created the team down here. I hit Edit on this team, and then I can come down here and hit Add, and this will create the different teams for me. Teams can be associated to a history, an event, contact, a company, a comp. So when you create those events within inside of the system by simply hitting add new, and again, that can be adding to a group, adding to an event, or anything else. In the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that team. If someone's associated with the team, they'll see the information. Jeff and I are on Team PropTech. If we put this on Team PropTech, then we would both see that record. If we're not part of that team, we would not see that record. So you can segment your databases much as need within inside of the program to make it simple for you.
You're going to go into the BOV, and so there's a question about, before you get there, since it seemed relevant, how can you import comps? Can you only import it into, the question was, do you need to bring them into Market Edge, or can you bring them into CRM, and then show how you bring them into CRM, and then we'll get them into Market Edge?
Yeah, so one way is with RX data, right? So we can bring in the property and comps for you. The other way is through the importation. You just go to tools, and I went through a little fast, so we'll go a little bit slower. Tools. And then once we go ahead and select tools, we can go to import. My system just had to reload. Tools, import, sales comps, lease comps, choose what you want. I recommend you watch this video. So where it says help with a little video, you hit that video icon. XLS, CSV, or XLSX. I like the one in the middle. This is going to go ahead and give you a template. I'm going to go ahead and download that template right now. It's going to give you an Excel spreadsheet template. You can copy and paste your information in. You can use your own Excel spreadsheet. You don't have to use our template. Just makes it a little bit easier if you do. And now we're going to come over here, and let's see if we find my downloads in here. I don't know where that downloads that information to. I had a problem with Chrome earlier with this stuff. What it would do is it would allow you to be able to pull up your Excel spreadsheet template. And for some reason, Chrome does not like when I go to my downloads. I think I have way too many downloads that it overloads my Chrome. But you would go ahead and select that spreadsheet. You would hit next. And then once you go ahead and hit next, and I think I just froze up my Chrome. So I'm going to try to close out of this portion right here.
No worries. While you're doing that, there was questions about the data. So there's a lot of questions about the data service that Matt mentioned, gave you a quick overview of. So RealNext is now able to pre-populate your database either at the city, multiple cities, or even national level by property type. And so we have the all the building based property and building profiles, all the ownership of those properties. And as Matt mentioned, we have a tool that's able to go behind the LLC to identify true ownership and contact information. We have loan information with the lender, the amount of loan and when that loan is coming due. We have comps, so you'll have comps in your database, and we have tenant profiles, a stacking plan in your building. The tenants won't have the contacts or the size or expiration date, but you'll at least know that here's the list of tenants in that address as a basis for your additional research. And then you can, as you're doing your building stacking plans, you can either get if you can, get the exact detail from ownership, or as you're walking a building, estimate the sizing in that. In many cases, we're going to have number of employees, so that could be a good reference point for what the space size is, but that's not complete. So if you're interested in the data plan, let your sales representative know, and we'll give you some more information about that.
Hey, Jeff, I got a quick question for you. So I'm running through here and I'm looking at a property, and I got RealNext data, RX data. Is it going to show me the comp that's going to be in there? Is it going to be able to see that history, that every time that property traded in there, that trade on that property, if you have the comps in there?
We are populating historical sales, not just the most recent sale. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And look, guys, I'm learning about this RX data as you are. Jeff told me a little bit more about it this morning, this afternoon, and I'm getting more excited about it. It's also nice to be able to have your comp information from RX data. You can import your comp information. Remember, your comp is just a snapshot of that property. So every time that property trades, if it's created within inside of RealNext, whether that's a lease comp or a sales comp, it's going to link back to the originating property. So you'll see every time that property trades, and you'll be able to see that historical data. And then what's going to happen is when you go ahead and start to create that broker opinion and value inside of Market Edge, it's going to map it out, it's going to graph it out, and then you're going to be able to adjust those comps if you want for superior, subpar, and so forth to make sure you get that correct valuation. Also, inside of Market Edge, when we talk about those valuations, we also have multiple scenarios. So these scenarios are fantastic. So maybe I just want to create a flyer. I'm marketing and I don't want to do anything with analytics. Great, just create a flyer. Or maybe you're a landlord broker and you want to show an available space, just show the rent roll. Or you can just start off with an initial scenario in here, and the information is getting populated from RealNext. So if you have that data in RealNext, it simplifies this process. All this information got populated directly from the CRM. From here, I can add any other information in that I wanted to. If I have a piece of land, I can put in my latitude and longitude. You'll put in here the number of tenants in there for like an office building, or if it's multifamily, you'll put in the number of mixes. And that way you can go ahead and easily analyze that property. Property details, you can, again, it's going to pull in from the CRM. Any details missing, you can add that information in. And then some of this description information will pull in from the CRM as well. If you want to go and run through a quick broker opinion and value, you can go ahead and skip the assumptions. You can go right to income, click on quick income analysis, monthly income, growth rate, and vacancy. Expenses, skip the detailed expenses, go to expense, quick expense analysis, put your annual expenses and your growth rate, go to presentation, go to file, templates, RealNext templates, broker opinion and value, and open. It's that easy to create a broker opinion and value. So now I have my flyer in here. I don't really like this cover page, man. I want to do something different. On the right-hand side, you can change the cover page to anything you want. You just change the cover page to what you like. It already brought in all the information directly from my CRM program. I can add additional brokers to it if I want to through my preferences. I can even change language. You can have your different logos in here, like I have one for white background, one for a black background, one that's transparent. And then if I just come over to BOV, BPO, you're going to start to see that I have my income valuation, 3.3 million, 3.7 million, and 4.25 million. How did you even come up with conservative, average, and aggressive? How does that even work? If you hit edit page, you can choose what information is included in your valuation. Summary report, investment method report, comparison method report, as well as your adjustment for comps. So that's really important to make sure that you understand the method report and comparison report, because now we're going to be able to add some additional notes so we can come up with how we came up with a comparison, any subject notes as well as comp notes. Income method, how did we come up with that income? We're going to choose our cap rates. We probably don't see anything in 7 and 9 cap. We are seeing cap rates increase drastically as interest rates creep up on us. And then summary report, this is going to give you a summary of your broker opinion and value where you type out your complete description on that. That then is going to allow you to create that valuation. It's going to give you information like stabilized income, income valuation analysis, and then any comparables that you want brought into the program. You simply go ahead and go to sales comp section in here, choose the comps you want, and then you're going to see average, above average, inferior, and then what that adjustment amount is. So inside of this system, we have the ability to put in there what percentage is an above average or what percentage is inferior to adjust those comparables. So then we get an adjustment analysis in our system. We can choose what we want, from a property summary to property photos, sales comps, rent comps, location maps, retail maps, or business maps. Or you can choose that you just want to take it all out by simply hitting the X and make it as small or as big as you want. You can also add global pages. So manage global pages is something new that we've recently added to our program, and it gives you pretty much full customization over those pages. So if you want to have something in here that's going to be for photos, but you want to have the photos moved, you can resize the information. You can drag and drop maps, text, files, buttons, social icons, or anything else, and then you can save that layout to use it over and over again. Agent bios have been added and updated, so if you want to adjust those around, we have different templates for those. And you'll see more templates coming in June when we have a new release of our program. Things like photo dissolve, these are great ways to be able to showcase your packages within inside of the RealNext program without going to InDesign and not having the inferior look of PowerPoint or Word when you're creating these packages. You have the ability to email, so you can email directly to your client. You can e-publish, which is a nice little digital flip book, as well as you have always the ability to take these publications and download them as a PDF. So again, we want to put our best foot forward. There's a video that talks about how we go ahead and we create these valuations, as well as how we create the marketing that sizzles in some of our other portions of our program. So I always talk about this, how fantastic would it be to take all the work that we did from prospecting for that property seller to creating that valuation and then simply handing it over to our marketing department if we're on a team. And if we're not on a team or an individual, how easy would it be to come in here and add any additional assumptions in here if we wanted to show a client what it would look like if they were to purchase that property. We can add any information like resale information because we can't depreciate property. We can put in here resale expenses like broker commissions and legal fees. We can put in our overall discount rate so we make sure that we're getting the proper NOI on our property, or making that proper introduction and building that narrative to the potential buyer. Tax information, vacancy information. And if you put your mouse over a lot of these, you'll start seeing a lot of the pop-ups. GuideMe is also going to be able to walk you through different sections of our program, and it's going to show you where to put the information in, and then it's also going to talk to you about how it got that information. So like value of land, this should be the portion of the purchase price that would be allocated to land value instead of improvements. It impacts the tax depreciation and capital gain. So again, not only do we give you where to put the information, but we also explain why you're putting that information in there. So the why is really important. Once you've done your quick income analysis, if you want to go back to a detail, that does not delete the detailed income. So if you have your rent roll within inside of RealNext CRM, it brings your complete unit mix as well as the rent roll across. And if you do a quick income, you can go back and forth. And then here's where you can put more detailed information in. If you don't have your rent roll within inside of RealNext, you can easily import that rent roll just by hitting import rent roll. We do recommend it and have it in RealNext CRM, but you can still just import it right into here, or you can manually type in the information, which is super quick, again, because we make our program as intuitive as possible. Your escalations and reimbursements, you have the ability to show what is your percent of base, month, year, pro rata share, as well as base stop amount. You can have different increases. So if there is an interesting lease of a back of the napkin and it's a 2-year bump and 3 years later there's a 4% bump, you can calculate for that as well. And you can create up to a 20-year cash flow. If at any point in time you run into an issue, you can always send it over to the Real Estate Exchange and our customer service team, and we'll help you out with that. We even have a concierge service where we can help you do the financial analysis for a small fee. Any miscellaneous income, laundry, vending machines, parking, pet fees, interest on late fees, so late fees, stuff like that, can be easily calculated in here, as well as your expenses. So quick expenses are going to be your property management fee, reserve replacements, and your total annual expenses. Detailed expenses are going to itemize that information. You can choose to do a detailed income and a quick expense, and it will work. You can do a detailed expense and a detailed income, and it'll be perfectly fine as well. If you're not sure what reserve replacements are, you hit the little dot right here, and it's going to show you what your reserve replacements are, and it's going to talk about the amount the lender may require to keep in reserve for future capital improvements. Building insurance, advertising, building insurance. Well, you have it here twice, Matt. Why would I have that type? You can type anything you want in this section. So you can type anything you want in those sections. They're 100% free form. Your expenses, the only thing that I'm going to say is note, if the annual expense is less than 100, then the amount is multiplied by the rentable square footage. So don't put any income below 100. This is not to be a P&L statement. This is to run your cash flow for you, whether that's 5-year, 10-year, 20. So if you put in your cash flow and you do get a number like $1 million in expenses, it's because you put in $99 for general supplies. Any increases in reimbursements, as well as capital expenses, and we have some videos to walk you through this. And then Dr. Jeffrey Fisher is going to be coming on here to give you more in-depth financial analysis training. Any debt services, so if you have, maybe you have a 7-year loan with an adjustment on here and adjust between, year 5, you can go ahead and show the adjustable loan. Maybe you have a balloon or an interest-only loan with a takeout loan in, year 2 or 3. We can show that loan as well as a refinance loan in with that other year that's going to be in 2 and 3. So again, give you a lot of different options to help create those projections in order to help build that narrative to why someone should buy that property. This is going to give us our annual property operating data. It's going to show our rental income, gross scheduled income, gross operating income, and then any building expenses, as well as our net operating income right here. It's also fully mobile. So if you want to pull this up on your tablet or on a PC, or you want to pull it up on your TV in a conference room, you can do that, and it's going to be fully responsive. I'm having problems with my Chrome, so I can't, for whatever reason, it's not letting me minimize either. But you would normally be able to minimize this, and then this would be responsive, and I'd show you how that's responsive and will fit on there. It can fit on your iPhone, but it's just too tiny. I don't recommend it. From here, all your work that you've done inside of this portion of the program can easily be created and added to something like a full offering. So if you want to go to a full offering, now you can create that beautiful full offering memorandum. If you're part of an organization and you want to have your company branding, we can create branding for you for additional small fee. Or maybe you're part of a larger organization. Maybe you're part of KW or NAI, Marcus and Millichap, Lee and Associates. We do have a lot of the branding already pre-built for you. You just come in here and select your branding, and it will brand that template for you. Also, things like picture. Your building doesn't look so hot. Just come over here, hit resize, fit photo, and it'll automatically fit right to the screen. It also allows me to edit other information like property description, location, if I want to add more information or subtract. I can even draw on the page. So if I want to show a star for, a certain percentage or, reduced price, if I want to add text somewhere that it doesn't allow me to add text normally, I can draw that text anywhere on my program. You also have control over what information is seen. So if we want to change this from property description to a map, we can easily do that. We can zoom in and zoom out of that map. We can even see from a road view to a satellite view. On our summary here, if we want to change our summary fields and we want to show APN number or building class or anything else, maybe we're in retail and we want to see the retail fields that are done, we can even bold and uppercase those different fields. And now you're going to see that in bold. So again, it's going to be able to give you lots of flexibility within our program, but still be fast and easy enough that anybody can use it. I just did a crazy awesome business mapping for a client out of Denver. Took me about 5 minutes to create it, and I copied what they did for their marketing team, and I did it in 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes, and their marketing team took about 2 or 3 hours to do it. I simply came in, I said backspace on restaurants, I said 1 mile, and then I started typing things in. So GreenSpot's new. I don't think GreenSpot's going to show yet, but it will show up. It's a brand new business we have coming in. But any one of these things here, like Edward Jones, college financial aids, Anchor Funding, Anchor Escrow, Bankers Hill, P-Fleet, we can go ahead and click on any one of these different retail maps that are on there. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can choose the radius. You even have the ability to decide that you want to have a logo or a name on there, or maybe you want to take it off. Maybe you want to add some padding in there so you can change the padding on how that looks. So if you want to add some padding around, I like mine just like this. And you also have the ability to do like an arrow so we can start seeing that. Right inside of here, I went ahead and I drew the line because this is going to be a portfolio sale. So I wanted to show what those 3 properties would look like. And I just lined that out. So you have the ability to draw your polygon in there You can add additional text, and you can even decide that you want to take off some things like point of interest and transit and stuff, or you can add them back on just like I did right there. So again, you have a tremendous amount of functionality within inside of this mapping program. We give you a location map, regional map. We give you demographics as well, 1, 3, and 5 mile radius. Property overviews. So these are going to be your templates and your template separators. These separators in here can have look just like this, or you can edit them and change them to have something that is like a photo in there. And there's different styles of photos, as well as you can change it from property overview in section 1, and you have the ability to rename those. How are we looking at questions, Jeff?
We have a bunch of them, but let's keep going. Some of these are more generic to hold for the end.
Fantastic. So a couple ways we can share the information. We can email it out. We can e-publish it. We can add it to a deal room. Deal room's a way that we can have a confidentiality agreement signaturized. I had a client, I think it was yesterday or Tuesday, and they said, your clients don't use Dropbox? I said, no. I said, nothing against Dropbox, but A, it's more difficult than it's ever been to use. Dropbox, you're great. I just don't know how to use you anymore. It's too technical for me. I can simply hit add deal room, choose the security level I want my flyer to be in or my package. I'm going to put it in basic. I hit add. It's going to add that document to my deal room. From there, I can add other information in my deal room, and my deal room will give me a link with electronic confidentiality agreement that I can share in any kind of email or anywhere else. I can also send it in e-publication. E-publications are great in 2 ways. One is they're live. So if I sent this over to Jeff, and Jeff viewed it, and then I made an adjustment on it, and Jeff viewed it again, he would see that publication updated. Also, when I clicked on this right here, you're going to notice if you go back in the CRM program, as this loads real quick, that I'm going to go right into, and I'm doing this live, that you're going to see in here that someone viewed, e-publish viewed 1, 2, 3 anywhere. So if you're sending it to somebody, you have the ability to track whether they open that package or not. Hey, PropTech, I'm going to send you this package. Great. And I can see when they open that package real easy. And again, nice little digital flip book. You can see in here, divisible into 2 suites with separate entrances. That was done in a matter of minutes. And same thing, add a custom caption. I want you to see that I created 2 different property summaries with custom pages. So you do have a lot of flexibility within our program. You want a bigger picture or smaller picture, and then you can fade the images. Also, you can download this into a PDF by simply hitting download PDF. Another thing you can do is create a private micro website by saying Market Edge property website. You can choose all your inventory. You can choose an alternative contact. You can display the broker, the company. You also have the ability to hit email. Email is great because it allows you to see your current properties on here, like this one here. And then I can say copy HTML, and I'll show you where that's going to work in a minute. Then I hit website, and it's going to go ahead and build me a website that I can direct my client to. This is going to have access to my deal room. It's going to have access to the financials, and it's going to chart everything out for me. It'll have your logo instead of your company here. It's going to have actually your company, your information, your phone number in that. I also copied that information to an email, so I'll show you how you can create an email campaign through RealNext CRM, and by copying that HTML, you can simply just copy and paste. You can now go ahead and say listed marketplace. Go ahead and hit create, whether it's for sale or for lease. If you made any updates in here, so if you had a price reduction or something changed within the property, you simply hit update. And then it's going to take you over to marketplace. So inside of marketplace, you have the ability to post it and make it searchable on the public market. That then can go directly to your own private website if you have that. If you're part of a large corporation and you're like, hey, I really want to have my own listings on my website, we can embed this listing widget for you as well. So then it would show your properties for sale or for lease. But Matt, I only do for lease. I don't want to show anything for sale. Don't worry, we have a customized view that we can show you that it's just for lease properties or just for sale properties, or we can take out different property types as well as change some of the formatting on these, and we can customize this more for your specific needs. But it automates the process of adding your listings. It also will showcase all your agents and all the agents' listings and how many of those agents have listings on that portion of the program. If you check unsearchable, it just means that it's going to be an off-market listing for you. If for any reason you have a piece of land and you want to show where that piece of land is, you can always move the Google arrow over to a different area. And you can even show it undisclosed if you don't want it disclosed. Same thing with your price, you can show undisclosed. And then you can add any additional information. So all your photos come from the CRM and your marketing package. But if you want to add things like a RealNext video tour from YouTube, you can. And if you want to drag and drop any additional photos, you also can do that. Once you create your private and secure war room, you can easily tie it in here. It's going to track who viewed your documentation. So not only is it great for lead generation, but it's also great through close of escrow in the same document vault. So you're not recreating the wheel each time. I was able to take a client's Dropbox as well as their Asana, and I have a feeling by the end of the week, we're going to be able to eliminate their Asana and their Dropbox and just use RealNext timelines and the due diligence war room deal room. You can syndicate your listing to up to 4 sources right now. We're adding more as we come across them. We want to make sure that your listing can be viewed in many different ways. From here, you can share your information on social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You can manage your listings or your company's listings if you're in marketing. And you can create an email campaign within a matter of 7 seconds, depending on whether you have a company branded template. You want us to create a template for you. I've seen some of your emails. You need us to create a template for you, I promise. We can do that very rapidly for you and for a low cost. Create that beautiful email with all the details in from your package so you're not duplicating that information. You can customize it so you can change your colors or set your own default covers. You can go ahead and email it to our listings. So email it to our group of clients. MSA is your metro area. State is going to be your state, and national is going to be national. You have a spot for a national tenant, shoot it out. 129 gets to our list of brokers, investors, tenant, and agents. You want to email it to your own list. All your groups and contact groups are all in here from your CRM that you can email out. In the RealNext Navigator, you get 1,000 email sends. You can add up to 1 billion emails. It's just a little bit of extra money. You can schedule these emails out ahead of time. So if you want to schedule an email out on the 1st, the 5th, the 15th, the 20th, you can easily do that by simply just copying your email, and that'll allow you to have it scheduled out and automatically send out to clients. We're also going to give you all the statistics on your listings and who you viewed your listings, who viewed your emails, who opted out, who opened it, and then we'll make it actionable within inside of the program. So if we want to see who viewed our campaigns, we can do it not only in here, but we also can go inside of Tim's record or Shrita's record or someone else's record, and we can see it right in with the CRM, or we can create a group. So as I'm in marketing and I had 4 clicks on one of the listings, I want the broker to come in here, pull up the group inside the CRM, and to be able to call those 4 people first. I was on a training 2 days ago and I said, how many people like making a phone call? 1 phone call to get a listing or 100 phone calls? Someone said 100. I think they misunderstood what I was saying. But what I was really saying to them is, do you want to make 1 phone call to close a listing, or do you want to make 100 phone calls to close a listing? And the answer is always going to be 1 phone call. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee it's going to be 1 phone call, but if we had 30 people that click that email, these are the 33 people or 36 people we want to call first. We can put it in that list view game changer. Remember, it's that arrow on the right that you click on history to see whether or not they emailed you through your Google or your Outlook. And now we can start calling each one of those investors to see if they're interested in buying one of our properties. We can also keep track of all those activities by tying it to our listing. Remember that voice dictation, so we can voice dictate those notes. We can add the client as a lead if they show interest in one of our properties or many of our properties. If we have 3 listings they would be good for, we can tie that lead to up to as many listings as they qualify for or we see they would be fit for. You can put in the date open for that lead, the size, what they're looking to invest. Maybe they're looking for 15,000 square feet and you have 50,000 square feet available. Any amount, commission, probability, source, where to come from, and maybe the reason why they're looking to invest in, and any additional notes. You can timestamp those notes with your individual settings so everybody knows who left that timestamp on there. As always, you can create a nice little follow-up, create that alarm to let you know when that is. I don't recommend creating an alarm for a lot of things. Alarms are made to wake up in the morning, not to brush your teeth and take a shower. This is kind of your follow-up. If you get used to the dashboard, you won't need alarms, but you can. You can add additional information. You can save that information right in there. And it's going to work in a couple ways, because I know each and every one of you that tracks your pipeline inside of Excel is going to want a way better way to keep track of your pipeline. I also mentioned to you that not only can you take those people that click that initial email and create it, you also can create a different email with inside of RealNext Real Campaigns. Select email. And now I'm going to say notes, Control A, there we go. And now I just created that email that I created inside of there. I don't have any programming skills. I don't know HTML. I don't know much when it comes to technology, but I do have a beautiful email in here to make sure. So maybe I had clients that opened it but didn't click it. Maybe I had clients that didn't open the email and I want to resend it to them. I can resend it right through the CRM. And again, I can track those same statistics, whether they opened, clicked, or opted out of that email. I can tie a link into my deal room so they can access the due diligence vault 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One of the biggest things that I've been hearing recently, and it's only going to get worse, is what are you doing to list my property? Well, you created this beautiful timeline in your listing presentation. You correlated it to this awesome system within inside of RealNext that assigns tasks to people on your team, and it automates that process to remind them to do what they need to do, so you can list that property, get the property in escrow, and close that property on time with these beautiful timelines. But you're not generating a marketing activity report. You better start doing it, because owners are starting to wonder why they have available spaces and what are you really doing? Are you going out and playing golf? Are you doing anything in order to generate leads? I was with a client this morning and they said, hey, we syndicate properties and we're having trouble creating marketing activity reports with our current system. Can you show me how to do it? And I got on and I showed them. Within 5 minutes, they created a project and we were able to create a lead report just like this, and we can send it to the client. It's beautiful. Where are we at on the property, and where are we at with funding? How many people have been funded? Or in this case, how many people toured? Offer received, in process and negotiation, and here's all the information we have. And then we can send this to Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. We can even create an activity report that will show all your activities for all your sign calls, your property tours, and everything else. You can sort by contact or event, and you can even choose date ranges in here, that now you don't have to worry about the owner calling you up and saying, hey, what's happening on my property? Here's the information. And oh, by the way, if for some reason the buyer and the seller get together and they try to middle you out, go to arbitration and bring your RealNext database and watch you get the commission. It's great. If you need a reference for that, I got one that did the same exact thing, and I'm telling you, man, it just threw it right in their face and said, here's RealNext, here's what I do, and blown away. You don't need SharePoint or Dropbox or anything else. You can easily go ahead and attach all your documents. You even have security levels for your documents. If you don't want other people on your staff or your team to look at those documents, you can drag and drop as many documents. You simply hit add and you drag and drop those files right in here. If I want to take my files from this section, I can drag and drop them right into there. And you can see now I can have, what team, and it's uploading all those. Now I have 78 files. I probably shouldn't have done that. I didn't know it was going to upload all of them there, but it's uploading all those for me. It's going to tell me the security level that's in there for it. And let me see if I can get out of there. You can see I'm at 78 files. This is pretty quick. This is pretty awesome. Now I can also put in here the default team and everything else with that. Again, I wasn't aware it was actually going to upload all those, but that's pretty awesome. So you can start seeing how uploaded. I'm probably going to get to the max on this drag and drop because you can upload up to 40 megabytes. Once it gets to the max, it'll stop. But you can do more than one drag and drop with that. Oh, it's loading up more than 41 megabytes. This is fantastic. You also going to be able to, while that's uploading that data there for you, you also have the ability to create commission reports. And then, as I said, always, you can track your pursuits and your seller rep, buyer rep, tenant rep, or anything else. And you have easy ways to sort out your deals that are for sale and for lease. You can see other attributes that are pertaining to it. You can customize your statuses and listing dates and listing expiration dates, and even generate reports of how much income that you plan on generating based upon the listings that you currently have with a nice little report that can be sent to Excel, PowerPoint, or Word. Jeff, I know we're running up on time. I'm trying to slow down but speed up at the same time.
Yeah, let's try to wrap up. There are a number of questions and some things, a number of them I've been able to respond to in the chat, but hopefully everyone's gotten a lot of value out of this. We've talked about how do you build your database, either directly through imported from other third parties, or you've got data from RealNext. We've shown you how to run marketing campaigns, how to create the BOV and the proposal, create your deal room, and then send your deal room out to a targeted list of buyers and to create client reports of all your activities. Some of the questions coming in, Matt, were around can you add a video to a marketing report, or video to your, I don't know if you do it to a marketing report, you can add a video to any of your presentations and
yeah, great question. So just click right on the photo itself and you're going to see a little link. Add, remove the link. So if you have like a drone video, or if you use RealNext VR or something like that, or RealNext Video Maker, yeah, just paste your link right in there and then it becomes a hyperlink in the PDF. Yeah, no problem. You can do the same thing with inside of your email campaigns too. You can add a video link to it in either Real Campaigns in the CRM or in Market. Inside of here, like if we go back to campaigns and we look at any one of these, you can add a link in there. It's all HTML in that portion of the program, and then this is a PDF, so you can add whatever you could add into a PDF. So of course, yeah, great question.
Matt, yeah, some people weren't as aware of the way you've opened up multiple tabs, and you do that, and that's I think a hidden.
That's a magic trick. I can't tell you. Stop. Yeah, but look, so many people come to me and they say, "Hey, Matt, how does your program work?" And I said, "It works how you work." And they go, "What do you mean?" And I said, RealNext works how you work. If you want the dashboard first, and you want projects second, and you want companies third, go ahead. This doesn't mean anything to you. That's why RealNext is so great, because we work how you work. See how I put my mouse over and it turns gray? Just go ahead, and once it turns that color, right click and say open a new window. If you're on a Mac, I can't help you. I don't know how to use a Mac. But you can have
just open a new tab. Same thing, just right click. Right click would be the same thing with your trackpad.
Yeah, okay, cool. Jeff's a Mac fanatic. I don't recommend opening so many so you can't read it. I was on someone's machine and they had like 98 tabs open. You couldn't read where you're at. But this way it's great, so you don't have any load time. I mean, it's instantaneous, and I love it. And then I keep track. So mine's dashboard, contacts, companies, properties, projects. Yours could be any way you want, but it's great to be able to have these tabs, because I don't remember what I'm doing. I go so fast, and if you watch me here in a day, you'll watch I have all these tabs open and I fly through it, and the only way I can remember where I'm at is the tab.
Perfect. So there's a bunch of people that are looking for custom branding. Contact your regional representative. You have Matt in the west, Kevin Wynn in the central, and Jen McCabe in the east. It's just first initial last name, so M Smith, KNGUYEN, Kevin Wynn, or Jen McCabe, JMCCABE. And those lines go up to Canada. So figure if you're in Canada, east, central, or western region, follow those.
Yeah, and if you're not sure where you live at or what's going on, just email sales@realnext.com and we'll make sure it gets distributed to the right person. That's the easiest way. Sales@realnext.com, email, and we'll make sure it gets distributed. If you have questions about RX data, you have questions about email campaigns, if you want to get a presentation of this, if you want to have a plug in your website or anything, we are here to help you. We want to know what you struggle with on a day, and we're going to show you how to do it faster, easier, more efficient, so we can make money together. Because the more money you make, the more referrals we get, and the better our program becomes. And wait until June. June is going to be epic. This is going to be the biggest release I have ever seen in 8 years. And one of the features I've been waiting years for, which is going to be coming out, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to get you so pumped up on it. When it comes out, I guarantee you're going to call me and be like, Matt, I love you. This is great. But guys, I didn't have anything to do with making it. I'm not that smart. We got a secret person in a cage that is locked up until June or mid-June working on this new development, and it is going to blow the socks off your feet. And if you're in sandals, your sandals are going away too. See ya.
So talk about primary contact. I know we're running against time, but there's this, I mean, this primary contact is great. One of the questions was about how do you, if you change a contact, will it update the property? So you want to associate your properties with a company generally, and then you can, within a company, assign a primary contact, and then if in case that contact changes at that company, boom, all of the properties associated will update automatically.
Yeah, so think about this, like Bear Realty owns 7 properties, right? So Chad's no longer at Bear Realty, and we want to change Bear Realty to a different contact. Now that contact doesn't even have to be associated. So it says filter just this current company. If you turn that filter off, you can assign anybody as that contact. So if you're a landlord broker and you want to say, hey, Antonio represents Bear Realty, we can go ahead and save, and now Antonio is going to be the primary contact who represents them. Or if you're a tenant rep, and you want to put who the tenant rep is that's representing that company, you can easily do that. Same thing with changing ownership. It's that easy. And then again, with our company side of things, if someone moves from one company to another company, you're simply just changing them from that company. You don't have to go through and change everybody at that address. There's a system that's out there, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but man, if you find it, you have to go in, and if the company address changes, you have to go into all 19 contacts and change them individually. In our program, you do it once and it changes all 19. I had a client tell me it saves them a year worth of work. I think they were exaggerating a little bit, but good Lord, our system is going to flourish when it comes to that. Also, drag and drop images. We have a client that loves pictures of their clients. You can drag and drop images from the web. Just be careful with trademarks, that's all.
And can you upload images into your contact, and can you do it with the import?
I don't know, it depends. So if you're in Salesforce, currently using Salesforce, and you're coming across with one of those Salesforce or resellers, we can bring in your images for you. If you want to do it in an Excel spreadsheet upload, there's no way that I know that we can do it, but send a support ticket in, say, look, I got images I want to upload, and we'll take a look at it. The hardest thing with images is copyright. So if they're copywritten, they're watermarked, we're not going to touch them. We don't want you to get sued. We don't want to get sued. So be careful with imagery. Also with
I think on the contacts different than on the properties for sure. But yeah, check client success. Our import team is amazing what they can do, and their ability to help you out. It's not an automated process, but it is for us. But they need to run the process, not part of the wizard.
Yeah, and do me a favor. Look, if you're at ICSC in Las Vegas, go find Jeff, pull your mobile phone out with RealNext, and take a picture of him. You can take a picture of the client with your mobile phone. Take a picture of them. If you go ahead and you show me a screenshot of Jeff in your database, I'll buy you a bag of red vines. Just give me your address and I'll send some red vines over to you. I'd love to see Jeff in everyone's database.
Perfect. A bunch more, but we're running out of time. Trying to get them all through chat. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Downloading a document and downloading attachments from the deal room. And that's exactly what the deal room is there for people to access and
yeah. And it's cool because it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it doesn't cost you $15 an hour. It's fantastic because they can download any documents you want them to. They sign off on a CA, so no one's stealing your rent roll and picking off your tenants. You can see who logged in, what they've downloaded. So if they have to sign off on documents by a certain date, you put a sign off date, and you can drag and drop all your files from there, from estoppel certificates, the contracts, due diligence, LOIs, and title commitments, all right in here with 7 levels of security. So it's fantastic, and it's locked. You even have an auto doc update, so every time you update a doc, the clients will get an email knowing them that a new documentation was updated, and they want to take a look at it. So I work with lenders. They populate all the deals in there they're trying to get funded. The lenders chase to get the email. They look at it. They come back and say, yeah, here's the rate that I would underwrite that deal at. And it works fantastic with Market Edge to underwrite the deal and then here to distribute the documents. You can even share information. I was in Vegas last week. I can share all my photos from Vegas with a CA. Awesome. Use it for whatever you want, and it's unlimited within the RealNext Navigator. We don't charge you per deal room like everybody else.
Yeah, unlimited deal rooms and free access to all your clients. They come in, they would see all their deals right through the one portal.
Yeah, so they're part of 10 properties. They sign in, they sign off on each CA for each one of the properties, and they can log in once and see all 10 properties and all the documents for all 10 properties in one thing. They don't have 10 places to go or anything like that. So no, I don't want to see any more Dropbox, Google Drive, Apple Share, any of that stuff, or SharePoint. Use this. It's fantastic. It also helps.
That's great.
Track records.
Yeah, we are over time. Appreciate everyone's interest and keeping us long. Happy to help, happy to share. Have any questions, check out the sales at realnext.com. We're happy to help you out, or client talk to your client success team, set up a ticket and an appointment to get any specific issues dealt with. Next week, we have our CRE market update with Dr. Fisher. It's an interesting time in the world and in the market, and he's going to have some brilliant insights, I'm sure, to share. So come back and join us, and many more of our RealNext webinars in the weeks to come. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thanks,
great day.
everybody. Talk to you soon. Happy hunting.